Welcome to the worst of the best podcast. You wanted the best. Well, they didn't freaking make it. So here's what you get. From Canada, Ryan and
Jason. Welcome to another episode of the Worst of the Best podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me today, of course, is Jason. Jason, how you doing this morning or this evening?
This evening, and just moments before going live, we had some fun technical issues. So it's always funny, you always think of the people who are on live TV and they have to get their game faces on. I feel like I'm doing right now. I feel like I'm doing that right now.
Blooper clips or whatever, they're between takes. They don't think they're on camera. They finger the camera or swear at the producer or something, but they're actually live. Yeah. They didn't know it. Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm working my way down.
Well, yeah, technical difficulties aside, this is going to be, I think, another light, fun episode. Last week, we talked about disturbing and unique things that people found in their basements. But on this episode, there won't be any kind of true crime stories or scenarios, nothing gross or scary or disturbing. This is just strictly hyped up products that ended up being duds, which I think is kind of a fantastic concept. These were ideas that people had a boardroom meeting, hundreds of millions of dollars reported into some of these projects. And everyone in the boardroom, the company, leaders were like, yeah, this is the ticket. This is really going to put us over the edge. And it's funny how you go from a boardroom situation and they brainstorm. They're in a brainstorming session. Yeah, the think tanks, they're shaking hands and patting themselves on the back with their coffee and donuts about their big idea. And the public's like, nah, I'm not interested. It's an interesting journey how those, because we actually did an episode, I believe, earlier last year. Check out our back catalog, folks, where we talked about products where, do you remember like the fake teeth?
There was like nothing, there's barely any brainstorming.
No brainstorming, almost an accident, really.
Yeah,
and
by accident.
They become mega, like these fake teeth gimmick stuff become mega million household products, and they shouldn't even be successful, but they are. But the flip side, these are big companies. We're going to be going over some big companies who've hired the best in the business to come up with some, hey guys, let's make more money for a company that's already big. I don't think there's too many of these companies where people are like, who's this? What company's running this? I think for the most part, a quick search here again. Yeah, every product and or company we've heard of. There's no way that you're like, what company is this? So these are big time companies who are still big today for the most part, most of these, but they had some duds, Jason, throughout the years. So, Jason, our society is built on capitalism, where businesses make things for us to buy. This system encourages new ideas and improvements. But in a free market where companies compete, they can't just make one thing and be successful forever. Over time, products need to change, get better, and stay interesting. So that's your typical capitalism 101. You can't have the same product every year to a certain degree. You have to innovate, change, because other companies are doing it. And if you don't stay up with them, they're going to knock you out of the competition. You have to improve your products with the times. Sometimes when a company makes a new version of something we love, we're excited about it. But other times people don't like the changes and the product becomes so unpopular that stores can't even give it away. Companies often spend a lot of money on advertising and marketing to make a product successful, whether it's a new version of something we already like or a completely new thing. When even a big and well-known company spends a lot of advertising and people still don't want to buy the product, we call it a dud. These are the stories of the 10 biggest duds ever. Products that just didn't make it in the eyes of the public. Okay, Jason, we have coming in at number 10. Now, I know you remember this product. You were,
I do.
If my math is correct, I was about 17 when this came out. You were about 19. Crystal Pepsi. What do you personally remember about Crystal Pepsi?
Just that it was clear. It was Pepsi that was clear. I mean, I remember seeing commercials about it. I can't really remember specific commercials. Obviously, there was a lot of, hype around it, commercials promoting it.
Do you remember the commercial?
Well, I'm sure there was a few. I just remember seeing commercials about it.
It was Van Halen's Right Now would play the commercial.
Oh, no, I don't remember that. I just remember seeing it, heavily on TV.
It's funny that you forgot that. When these commercials were hitting the screens in 1992, Pepsi spent a lot of money. Like we said, they spent a lot of money on getting this product out there. They used Van Halen's incredible song Right Now. I'll play a few seconds of it so it doesn't get a copyright claim on our YouTube. I'll stop after a few seconds, but we all know the piano chord. So what happens is they played Right Now. That was it. They played segments of the song Right Now by Van Halen. Great song. I'll read you their slogan throughout the commercial. They have all these different images of the Pepsi and the guy skydiving and a gal drinking the Pepsi. This is gives you an idea here of what they would say during the commercial, the writing in the background of the music. So that was how this worked. So right there, it says, right now, somebody's trying Crystal Pepsi. So it shows a woman drinking the Crystal Pepsi. And yes, for our audio listeners.
I remember this.
Okay, good.
Right there, right now, somebody's trying Crystal. Yes. Yeah.
And they took this slogan or this idea of the words with the right now, somebody blank, 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 blank from Van Halen's music video that did that. Right now, there's children starving in Africa. Right now, there's a mother who forgot their kid at school or whatever it was. Like all these stats in the 90s, wherever they got these stats from. They took that exact same, basically borrowed Van Halen's Right Now video and made it into a Pepsi commercial. So right now, somebody's trying Crystal Pepsi. So a woman's drinking out of it. And it says, right now, startling flavors strikes. You know, she's had the sip. Startling flavor strikes. Right now, this taste never happened before. Okay, so that's the next slogan. So now it's telling the audience it's a new taste from Pepsi. Right now is different. They're letting the audience know this is a different taste than your Pepsi Cola. It's called Crystal Pepsi. Right now feels lighter. And right now is more refreshing than ever. Right now, Cola has a whole new taste. So again, visually, it's clear. The taste is different. I saw another commercial with the same type of format where they mentioned too, Jason, that it didn't have caffeine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you ever drink it? I don't recall if I ever drank it.
I did, and I liked it, and I drank it all the time. It worked. I don't know if it was the Van Halen. I don't know if it was the Van Halen song, or because at the time it didn't have caffeine, or whatever it was. I drank Crystal Clear Pepsi quite a bit. I was probably one of their top consumers. I did drink that stuff religiously back in the day. Yeah, I was a consumer of it. I liked it. I was one of the people that liked it, but this product flop. So firstly, Jay, there were issues with how the product was marketed and branded it, but perhaps the most significant reason for its downfall was that the consumer simply didn't like the taste. So I was one of those people that liked the taste.
Was it cola at all?
It wasn't. It wasn't cola. It was a whole new drink. I think that's what threw people off. Basically, it's just a crystal clear drink. Looks like water.
Like a 7-Up.
It was a different flavor of 7-Up. It wasn't cola. Didn't have caffeine. It was just made by Pepsi.
Right.
And it just failed. They spent millions on advertising. It never paid off.
Borrowing Right Now would have been a huge dollar amount because that was a massive song. And that was the height of Van Halen.
Yeah. So there you go. Crystal Pepsi. I was a consumer of this product. I think of all these things that we're going through, and we're starting off with this one. This is the one product I remember well, remember the commercials. I was a fan of Crystal Pepsi. They did try revising the Crystal Pepsi almost as a nod to the past and hoping that people would forgive it in 2016, but it failed again. So.
It's kind of like the way Metallica plays Saint Anger songs on their tour.
They make fun of it, so to speak, but I think fans have actually enjoyed that album more now. But they tried with Pepsi in 2016 to come back with it, and it didn't work again. So I think we'll never see it again. Yeah, Crystal Pepsi. There you go, number 10.
So would it have been better if they just didn't call it Pepsi? Because Pepsi Cola, like PepsiCo, the company Pepsi, they make other products. They make 7-Up, so they're competing with their own visually anyways. Right. So I don't know. They're kind of cannibalized themselves, I think.
Yeah, it failed. Interesting. Interesting failure. Yeah.
Yeah. Apple Newton. So this was in 1993 when Apple released the Newton, a series of personal digital assistants. Remember those PDAs, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. Did you ever have one?
I think I did. I played with one. I'm not sure what I did with it, like what I would have actually done with it, but I think I had one.
I don't know. I won't play the commercial. I went on YouTube, of course. There's like a 2-minute, it's not really a commercial in the sense you'd watch on TV for 2 minutes, but it was one of those, probably something they shipped off to investors or something. I don't know who would they show this to, but it's like a 2-minute commercial of all the crazy fun things you can do with the Apple Newton.
Yeah, so this is back in 93. Apple aimed to be technologically innovative with this device, but it faced early challenges, especially with its handwriting recognition software. Combined with high prices, the Newton turned out to be a major disaster. The development of the Newton started in 1987, and it finally hit the shelves in August of 1993. However, production didn't last long, ending in February 1998. Former Apple CEO John Sculley revealed that the company invested around $100 million in developing the Newton. And interestingly, the term personal digital assistant was first used in connection with this device.
This product, the Newton, coined that phrase PDA, personal digital assistant. Okay.
While Apple did make some profit from the Newton, other companies quickly developed their own, more affordable PDAs. This led to a decline in Newton sales, eventually causing it to be discontinued after just 5 years on the market. The Apple Newton remains a symbol of significant product failure despite its initial attempts at technological innovation.
So this was pre-cell phone. This thing wasn't making phone calls. I think it could send and receive emails when you connected it. I don't know what it would have had for the 93. I don't know if there was cell. Well, I guess, was there cell service in that sense? There probably would have been some sort of archaic service maybe to this thing?
Man, I think the internet just barely had started in like 91, right? 90, 91?
But they had early cell phones. So I wonder if this thing could have connected to your...
I wonder if it connected to an internet connection, like you went to your home or whatever. Could you connect it to the internet? I remember them being around. I think people just used to write notes and stuff on it or Excel spreadsheets.
Here's a little bit of a news piece here, Jay, on the product. We'll listen to a little bit of this. I think it will be good.
Apple Computer has a new technology designed for consumers who aren't necessarily into computers. The new technology is called Newton.
It's the first product that has gone beyond computers and said, how do we put intelligence in? We're going to change our lives as much as the fax machine or the cellular telephone have in the last 10 years.
The first product with Newton's digital technology is called a personal digital assistant. It's a calculator, electronic datebook, and computer with a built-in modem, but fits in the palm of your hand. You write on it like a notepad, but it turns notes into letter-perfect diagrams and memos and faxes them to boot. It can cancel a meeting with a client, even summon a map of a subway with directions.
You have this very fast processor that spends an incredible amount of time trying to make these deductions and trying to do the right thing, trying to figure out where you're going next.
Apple says Newton will trigger a huge industry that links information and telecommunications, $3.5 trillion worth within 10 years. Already, companies like Random House, which would provide information like the subway map, and Pacific Bell have signed on.
The consumer electronics business needs a hot product. They haven't had one yet. The PC business has been more mature, and the growth rate has been declining. So there is a need to re-energize both of those markets.
That's a tall order, but so far, Apple's Newton is making competitors nervous. Already, Casio and Tandy say they will collaborate on a similar product.
So isn't that crazy? That was a news piece, Jason, from 1992, talking about this incredible new thing that's going to make waves. I love how the end of that news piece actually talks about how other companies are going to collaborate to form their own. We actually revealed that was the downfall of the Newton. These other companies got together and made better, cheaper versions than the Apple product, which put them out of business.
None of them lasted. It quickly went from that to the cell phone.
To the smartphone eventually.
Yeah, smartphone. Yeah, I did have a modem, so it could connect to the internet that way.
Yeah. To me, I look at that product and I'm like, still not enough. I could just make a phone call and cancel a meeting. I don't get, like, you can cancel a meeting. You can, it changes text or it has the subway map. I was like, yeah, but even back then, you just kind of would just look at the subway drawing on the subway. You know, it's funny how it wasn't quite enough. It's interesting what it could do, but it was still not enough that I need to buy this probably expensive item that's the size of a big, what do you call it, Kindle almost.
Yeah, I think that's what it mostly kind of was. It was a poor Kindle. Like, I bet people read books on it. You know, you probably could do crosswords on it.
I thought I saw one game thing. I think I saw a game tab, of course. Like, yeah. Fun to go back, and I never heard of that product in 93. Did you? I wasn't on top of the computer scene like that back then.
Not necessarily the Newton, but I mean, I remember seeing people having them, and I remember them seeing them smaller. Those were quite big.
I think you're thinking early 2000s. This is 93, so this is 31 years ago.
Maybe.
Interesting to get a price point on those. I couldn't find a price point, but probably not cheap. For number 8, we've got the Reynolds smokeless cigarettes. I couldn't find any commercials on this. Again, I just found some people talking about the products. In 89, R.J. Reynolds, known for cigarette brands like Newport and Camel, big company, attempted to tackle the challenges posed by anti-smoking campaigns by investing over $300 million in a new product, the smokeless cigarette. However, this endeavor turned out to be a notable flop. The concept of the smokeless cigarette was peculiar as it sounds. Unlike traditional cigarettes, this product heated tobacco without igniting it, resulting in a taste and scent that was quite different from a lit cigarette. The smokeless cigarette underwent testing in a limited number of cities in Arizona and Missouri. Unfortunately, the product faced multiple issues. Beyond offering a substandard flavor for smokers, it was challenging to light, and it failed to achieve the goal of creating a cigarette free from carcinogens. After a mere 5 months only on the market, R.J. Reynolds pulled the plug on the smokeless cigarette. The discontinuation was a direct result of consumers decisively rejecting the unconventional and ineffective product. Wow. So this was obviously the forefather of the e-cigarette.
Yeah.
But the idea was, if you've seen pictures of this thing, it looks just like a cigarette, but it somehow heats up the cigarette inside this little tube thing. I guess you still have to light it with a lighter. I don't get this thing. It's like trying to microwave tobacco in a tube. What do you think?
Well, first of all, I mean, this is just a stepping stone to the vape. It is funny that they couldn't figure out how to do this. This technologically too difficult. And what's funny is that you're trying to technologically innovate on one of the most harmful habit-forming behaviors. Right. I just kind of roll my eyes at this whole, oh, darn, we can't sell cigarettes this way.
This was a time when they're trying to eliminate a little bit of smoking in restaurants and in buildings.
Right.
People were still doing it then. So this is their way of maybe trying to get ahead of the curve of that to a degree.
For sure.
In their brainstorming, boardroom session, they're saying, hey guys, we can have all of our smokers puffing on these things, so to speak, getting their nicotine fix, getting the flavor of the cigarette, and there's nothing to blow out. There's nothing coming out of the cigarette that will be in people's faces. I was trying very hard to find a working smokeless cigarette to see somebody use it so I could see what it looks like on screen, but I couldn't find anything.
I'm sure they've scrubbed the whole internet of this thing. But 5 months, 300
million. That's like 600 million today, probably anywhere from 5 to 600 million today. Just dollars. That's a lot of money. That's an epic fail. Yeah. You got the next one there, Jay.
In 96, McDonald's, the fast food giant known for expanding its menu, introduced the Arch Deluxe in an attempt to attract a more sophisticated customer base. Despite spending over $150 million on marketing campaigns, the burger didn't live up to expectations and was eventually taken off the menu before the decade concluded. In the effort to appeal to a more refined demographic, McDonald's enlisted the skills of fine dining chef Andrew Salvaggio to create the Arch Deluxe. This burger featured a quarter pound of beef on a split-top sesame seed potato bun, topped with a circular piece of peppered bacon, leaf lettuce, tomato, American cheese, onions, ketchup, and Dijon sauce. Regrettably, the Arch Deluxe became the biggest failure in McDonald's marketing history. Issues with the advertising firm, a disinterested target audience, and a lack of support from franchisees contributed to its downfall. Despite early projections anticipating it to bring in $1 billion for McDonald's, the Arch Deluxe fell far short of this mark. In 2018, the company attempted to revive the concept with the Arch Burger, a similar sandwich with a similar result, marking it as one of McDonald's most significant failures.
Do you remember the Arch Deluxe?
Yes, I think I do. I thought it was good.
I do too. Well, you were part of that demographic they were hoping for.
I was so sophisticated. I got it. I understood. Hey, McDonald's, such a sophisticated, picky ear. I get what we're doing here. I'm on board.
Yeah, it's an odd approach because you have the restaurant basically saying, look, we know we're a fast food joint. The kids come in, scream and yell, birthday parties, construction workers grabbing the burger on their lunch break. We get it. Well, they wanted to make a burger, Jason, that was kind of like what you'd buy at a family restaurant. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like
sit down. Yeah.
TGIF or, Applebee's. That kind of like a little bit of a higher end burger with fries. And they say sophisticated, but the idea that you're not just going there for a cheeseburger and a hamburger and nuggets. You're getting the Arch Deluxe. And the commercial I pulled up on this, I'm not going to show it just because the whole thing it's nonverbal, but it shows two kids and it shows a boy and a girl kind of like on a date. I guess they're like 10, 12 years old. The boy, because he takes everything out of the Arch Deluxe and turns it into just a normal hamburger that kids enjoy. But the girl likes the Arch Deluxe. So the idea is that the girl is more mature and refined than this little boy. So that's why the Arch Deluxe is for the mature audience, for the let's go have a date at McDonald's, but we'll order the Arch Deluxe because that's a proper burger.
Instead of going to the steakhouse, we're going to go to get the
That's right.
Arch Deluxe.
That's right. They didn't go to the Keg for their burger. They went to McDonald's.
I mean, how sophisticated do they think their market will? Is there really a distinction between the Arch Deluxe and a quarter pounder with cheese or something? Like,
I think the bun was different. That's what they're saying. There was like that slice on the top to give it a different look.
I don't know why it failed. People just didn't order it. But I do get McDonald's when they go like, oh, we're going to offer apple slices instead of French fries, or we're going to, you can have a side of salad. Remember those salads? I don't know if they still sell that. I haven't gone to McDonald's in years.
Oh, yeah. They don't have, I don't
remember those salads. And I remember they even did pizza for a while. And then like the McRibs. Who's McDonald's really trying to fool? You're not a health restaurant. No one's going to, hey, I'm going to McDonald's because they have the salad or because they offer apple slices to my children. Like we're all faking ourselves out. Just stick with your burger fries. I just didn't think the Arch burger was that different in comparison to a regular hamburger. Like it's slightly different, but I didn't think it was so different that it would be not acceptable for the audience at McDonald's.
So here is the Arch Deluxe. I got a picture of it here for our YouTube watchers, but I'll describe it for our listeners. This is the idea.
Yeah, the hickory smoked bacon. That's what I remember the most.
So there's the bun. It has 3 slices on the top to give it that look of a different, it looks like, I think it was a potato flour. So it was a bigger bun, softer bun. So the idea here, soft, buttery home style bun, a new secret sauce for grown-ups, sweet Spanish onions, fresh, crisp iceberg lettuce, juicy, ripe, delicious tomato, hickory smoked bacon, classic American cheese, and then sweet, extra fancy tomato ketchup, and a juicy quarter pounder. There you go.
But it's really not that different than any other hamburger that they sell. So that's what I'm getting at. It's not really that different. It seems odd that it would not be accepted. They spend a lot of money for people saying, no, that's just way too fancy for my taste buds. I can't accept that, and I won't buy it. It's a weird one.
I think I found an actual picture. Here's the picture here. So there it is, made.
But how different does that actually look than any other burger?
Well, if you look at this picture, it does look a little bit different than your common cheeseburger or even the Big Mac. This is a professional picture, of course, for the product. But it looks a little bit like the burger you'd find at Applebee's, the Keg type thing. That's their whole point was look at this burger. Look what we're talking about.
I think for me, it's the bun. Looks a little bit fancier. And it's the hickory bacon. The bacon was, if I remember eating this, the bacon was good. It had that little pepperiness to it. So,
yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I'd eat it today. Sure, why not? Another food item, Jay. This is the Cosmopolitan yogurt. You remember this yogurt, Jay? Do you remember buying this yogurt?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
So in 1999, the renowned Cosmopolitan magazine, a staple in fashion and family publication since the 1880s, took an unexpected detour into the yogurt industry. Remember when yogurt was considered a healthy snack? The idea that yogurt is a healthy alternative snack. Just grab a little quart of yogurt, a little cup, and you eat that yogurt and it takes care of your hunger.
It still is. There's a ton of yogurt at stores.
It's just candy. It actually isn't healthy. It's just full of sugar and dye. Weird how people think yogurt's healthy. Unless you get the literal
plain yogurt with nothing on it.
With nothing in it. The highest fat content you can have from the animal. Yeah. This venture, however, turned out to be a brief and unsuccessful foray. During the late 90s and early 2000s, the yogurt market was already saturated for reasons unknown. Cosmopolitan decided to introduce its own yogurt line. So a very successful magazine decides, let's dip our toe into the yogurt industry. And this lasted 18 months. One significant hurdle was the high price point, with each cup costing over $1. $19.99, $1 for each little, probably those self-serving little cups.
Yeah, yes.
So they were selling the name brand, right? This is a Cosmopolitan yogurt because our models are thin on our magazines. You too will be thin when you eat our yogurt. So the attempt was to combine the realms of sex appeal and dairy consumption. Was a bold move, but it didn't resonate well with Cosmopolitan's readership. The brand extension strategy employed, known as piggyback marketing, again, they're using their name brand for a different product, became the sole marketing effort for the product and contributed to its underwhelming launch. The lack of a strong connection to the Cosmo brand and its other products, coupled with the overpriced nature of the yogurt in a market already filled with options, led to the venture being labeled as one of Cosmopolitan's most epic failures. The yogurt's demise highlighted the challenges of entering a competitive market without a clear connection to the brand's core identity. Why did Cosmo even bother, Jason?
I'm so confused. I'm confused. Of all the things that Cosmopolitan can participate in with their name brand, yogurt. Like when you think of Cosmo, are you thinking yogurt? I don't even thinking food. I'm thinking makeup, purse, lip balm, perfume. I'm not thinking food products, and I'm not thinking yogurt. And yogurt is a completely saturated
There's just so many
product. It's
options.
so many options. Like if you sell a quart of milk, you're selling yogurt. It's just everywhere. And they all do the same thing. It's just like we talked about sugar. It's sugar with fake flavor for the most part. I find that a complete misstep. Do you know if Cosmo does any other type of product line
Let's
other
see.
than their magazine?
I would recommend, if I was in the Cosmopolitan brainstorming team and we had this magazine, I'd recommend let's do clothing line probably or makeup.
Yeah, that's what comes to my mind. Clothing, makeup, perfume. Maybe if you want to get into the food, I would do like a supplements, like vitamins, like a multivitamin or, something for skincare. Food line just does not resonate with me at all. That's a weird one.
I did a quick Google search. I couldn't find any Cosmopolitan yogurt commercials, but I found this channel. This video only has 38 views in the last year, but I don't know. It looks like these three gals might be making fun of the very thing we're talking about, making a little skit about it. So let's give them a quick plug. This is from Ellen Everett's YouTube channel.
I want to do a transition like that.
So it shows a girl she looks like she just stepped out of the shower. She has no makeup on. She's looking at a Cosmopolitan magazine, and she just said the words, I want to do a transition like that. I want to look like this model in this magazine. I kind of see where this might be going. So she says, I want to look like the model in the magazine, she says.
What is this?
So an ad fell in the magazine. This is pretty good. I don't know why this looks
This is good.
The girl saw an ad fall out of the magazine of Cosmo showing the yogurt, and then these two girls come out of the closet holding a Cosmo yogurt in their hand. They say hi.
We're the Cosmo Fairies. Our Cosmopolitan yogurt includes all natural ingredients, special skin vitamins, immediate results, and glowing and beautiful skin. We're here to help with your transition.
I don't think the yogurt contains any of that stuff, but they're saying when you have a cup of yogurt, this is what's going to happen to you. So now she's being done up and made up by the girls. Makeover in the chair. Yeah. Oh, the top of it looks like they might actually have a real yogurt. The top of the yogurt, what did that read? You are beautiful from the inside out, because you're eating the yogurt and it goes in your side. Oh my gosh. That's probably what it said, Jay. So they open it for the girl, and she takes a big spoonful of the yogurt, and now she's all dolled up, makeup on, her hair done right.
Hello, Mama, I'm here.
Okay, I'm ready.
Dang, little Mama, you look good.
Oh, thank you. It's all thanks to my Cosmopolitan yogurt.
That's it. So her date picks her up and says, man, you look good. It was a girl playing a guy. That was funny. And yeah, that's funny. Good for those girls. Good for them to do that. That's great. I'll give them a little bit of a shout out that we featured them on our episode, because I thought it was a well done skit. They're actually playing out exactly what we're talking about. I don't know what these board members were thinking when they presented this yogurt to their readers.
Yeah, of all the products that you could market to your readership that would make them feel like that would somehow improve their life or their looks or their health, there's a billion of other things that you can do. That is just not something that screams at me that people would connect yogurt that strongly with.
Interesting. Funny stuff. All right. But this is going to be hard to pick what we think is the worst flop. Okay, Jay, you got the next one.
So Google Glasses in 2012. So I guess it was introduced as Project Glass, a moonshot technology developed under the Google X initiative, giving birth to what became known as Google Glasses. However, despite its potential, this ambitious project ended up as one of Google's notable failures. The primary issue stemmed from the product being mismarketed, creating a distorted public perception. Originally intended as a futuristic prototype, the launch generated significant hype accompanied by a high price tag. Unfortunately, Google Glasses failed to live up to the expectations set by this pre-launch excitement. Google invested hundreds of millions of dollars in the research, development, and marketing of the product. However, they neglected to allocate sufficient resources to explain the functionality and purpose of the Google Glasses. The product lacked intuitiveness and failed to deliver what consumers believed they were promised. Within a short span of 3 years, Google discontinued the product, citing marketing missteps as a significant factor in its failure. There was no proper product launch, explanation, or mainstream advertising, making it challenging for consumers to understand and purchase the glasses. Despite its potential, Google Glasses turned into an epic fail due to a combination of mismarketing and inadequate consumer communication.
Yeah, I agree because I'm actually confused to this day what they do.
Me too. I don't know what they do. I mean, with all our smartphones and stuff, you can now just put your camera up to any product and it will tell you what it is. Oh, what's this? I'm looking at a sign in Chinese. It would, translate it for me.
Right.
That's what the glasses kind of were supposed to do, I think.
I don't know. That could be a very good option. Yes, I'm looking at a foreign language and I have it automatically set that every time I see language, I want the glasses to translate it for me. Sure. I don't even know if it could do that, Jay. I don't know if it could look at a foreign language.
Yeah, I have no idea. What does it do, Ryan?
I only have one thing that came to my mind when I heard of Google Glasses: taking photos of girls when you're walking around. I hate to say it, but that, to me, I'm thinking creeps would love this thing because they could just walk around in an amusement park or at the beach and, I'm just going for a walk.
Well,
and everywhere they look, they could just take videos and snippets of.
But you see what Facebook just came out with?
No.
They have Ray-Bans with a camera in it. So you can drive around. I'm driving with my Ray-Bans on, and you can live stream what you're viewing onto your social media. That seems like a more thought out product. I mean, I don't know what I would use. I don't know if I would ever use something like that. I don't know the full range of, it's kind of like the PDA. They have this kind of idea, but they don't know how to really implement it into everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to spend $800 on glasses that kind of do what exactly? It's innovative. Is it innovative enough?
I don't want to wear those things all day. I don't want them on my face. I don't wear glasses. I only wear them for driving. So I do wear them. But this the idea that I'm carrying around a cell phone on my face. I think for me, the biggest advantages would be translation. Sure. If you were to go to a foreign land, so if you had this eyewear with an earpiece in your ear that could translate audio and visual for you in a foreign land, that'd be pretty cool. Like we do in Star Trek almost. And we're getting there, I think, to a large degree. But other than that, I don't know. How do you type? How do you ask for to search for things? Do you say Google Glasses, search for?
Yeah, I'm trying to see even online. That was a horrible look too. At least the Ray-Bans that are out now, it's a way better.
I wouldn't want to be the guy that wears them. I just feel like if I'm the guy wearing them, it's obvious that I have it's obvious that I have a camera or something on my. I'm looking around. To me, it feels creepy. I think that's what it is. You're the guy walking around with a camera on your eyes, looking at everybody. Am I on camera? Are you recording me right now, sir? Where do you wear this?
Yeah. I mean, that happens anyway, right? Everything's recorded.
Well, it'd be like me walking around with my camera like this, pointed at everybody. Like, are you? It's kind of weird.
It is weird. That's why it didn't work. I don't really see what the purpose of it would be at the end of the day. Like, what?
That's what I mean.
Is
translation? Sure. Translation. That's what I'm going for. I think that's the easiest way to.
Or Google Lens. Like, I'm looking at a statue, but I don't know what the statue is.
Sure.
Google Glasses.
Google Glasses. Tell me the history of the statue.
Yeah. And then you get it read up on your little small screen on your, come on.
Oh, that's irritating.
That's what your phone's for.
But having that right up on your glass, is that easy to read or is that irritating to read? The text that close to your eyeball? I don't know. Remember the beginning of Terminator 2 when he walks in the bar and he's looking for clothes that fit him? That's your Google. Terminator 2 had Google Glasses. Yeah. Okay. Number 4, Jay, we've got the mobile ESPN. Oh my gosh. This is embarrassing. So mobile wanted to enter the cell phone market. The cell phone market, smartphone market was really starting to boom in 2006, 18 years ago. ESPN embarked on an ambitious venture with the introduction of ESPN Mobile, a short-lived mobile virtual network operator. The concept was to exclusively sell phones offering ESPN content and video, leasing network access from Verizon Wireless. However, despite ESPN's grand plans, this project turned out to be a major failure. At launch, ESPN had only one phone to offer, an overpriced Sanyo device. The market's response was underwhelming. And despite ESPN pouring $150 million into the project, including a reported $30 million on a Super Bowl ad, the product failed to gain traction. The project fell significantly short, reaching only 6% of its sales projection. Oof. So somebody bought it though. That's what I love is there was still somebody who bought it because keep in mind this was sort of early smartphone and apps, right? Well, basically what ESPN was doing, they're saying buy our phone and you'll have ESPN, all the ESPN content that we can Google right now, Jason, on our smartphones.
Yes,
would be exclusive to the mobile.
It was a streaming.
It was an app
service.
phone.
Yeah, it was built-in streaming service specifically for ESPN content.
It'd be like buying a Facebook phone, but the only thing you had on the phone was Facebook.
Right.
And you made phone calls here.
Or a Netflix.
Or Netflix phone. That's right. Right. You're buying the Paramount Plus phone. You can make phone calls and check your email, but the only content you have on the phone is ESPN. That's all this is. It's an ESPN phone.
And now they have ESPN app. They had the right idea.
This must have been pre-apps. This must have been just at that precipice of the apps before they took off. And I remember when apps were first introduced. I might have mentioned this before. I even remember when they first introduced on the smartphone before I had one. I'm like, why would anyone need this? Anyways, I was one of those people.
I didn't even understand what apps are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was all
new.
It
took me a long
weird.
time to understand app.
Yeah.
What's the app?
I think it was by the Apple 4 or 3 that I actually kind of understood what the phone was all about.
I had BlackBerry.
The BlackBerry was a frustrated machine. It didn't have the iPhone apps.
It probably took me like 10 years to figure out the app was short for application. I think it is, right? Okay.
That's right.
I say, oh, application. Oh, that's fancy.
See if I can find the Super Bowl commercial.
$30 million, man. These companies have way too much money, eh?
It's crazy how much, and they're still fine. Holding the Sanyo cell phone. All the sports is happening around him as he's looking at his phone. All this sports is happening around him as he's walking down the street. Skateboarding, basketball, football, tennis, baseball. All these different sports are happening as he's looking down at his phone. The idea, no matter where he is in the world, Jason, sports is all around him, following him wherever he goes. You got NASCAR.
Consuming sports. Like, it's so important to him. And it's like a little flip phone that probably has
it's a flip phone.
A 2.5-inch screen, 480p resolution. Pixels.
Right now, we always seen is him holding the phone. We don't even see what the screen looks like. It says, "Welcome to Sports Heaven." Okay, now it's showing you. There it is. There's the screen there, Jay. So it is colorized. Yeah.
Oh, you buy it at Best Buy.
Best Buy, yeah. There you go. So color screen, but you're right. It's a very small. Was it 2.5? Like I said, 3 inches, maybe. Yeah, it's that whatever that flip phone size was. And they sell service for videos and stuff back then was so expensive.
Yeah, if you weren't on Wi-Fi, I mean, did they even have Wi? I actually remember going to the phone, and they're like, "Do you want this?" Like, there was like 2 phones, one without Wi-Fi or one with Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
because Wi-Fi wasn't even that ubiquitous yet. Not everybody has Wi-Fi. Not everywhere you go has Wi-Fi. It's just like, is there any point of having Wi-Fi when all you're going to use your phone for is phoning and text messaging? So that was a conundrum. Get the one with Wi-Fi or without Wi-Fi. The idea is it's a streaming device for one company on that phone, whereas now every phone has every streaming option available.
They had the right idea, but like you said, you're basically buying a cell phone. It's an app. You're buying the cell phone app.
A singular app.
All right, Jay, you got the next one. This one kills me. I couldn't find a commercial for this. I don't even know if a commercial was made because this was in 1974, but go ahead and talk about this one.
In a surprising move in 1974, Gerber Foods, known for its baby food innovation since 1927, decided to shake up the industry with a unique concept: baby food for adults. Enter Gerber Singles, small jars featuring flavors like beef burgundy, Mediterranean vegetables, and blueberry delight. However, this venture turned out to be one of the strangest and most significant failures in the food industry. The idea seemed logical, especially considering Gerber's long-standing success in the baby food market. The 1970s, with its lower birth and marriage rates, appeared to be the perfect time for Gerber to transition into adult food. The marketing team envisioned a market of 40 million singles, potentially representing around $205 million in profits. However, the reality was quite different. Eating dinner from a small glass jar, even for those dining alone, proved to be unappealing. Despite the logical reasoning and market analysis, Gerber Singles failed to resonate with consumers. The product, aiming to cater to adult demographic, ended up as an epic fail.
You've had babies. I've had babies. We both had baby children, and we fed them baby food from jars. I know I did. Sure. And I've tasted a couple just because of whatever. It basically, as you would imagine, folks, if you don't have a baby or what baby food is, it's just pureed food.
Yeah.
It's just
pureed carrot, pureed peas, whatever.
That's right. And it tastes fine. The texture is just what's weird about it. I think there was even a couple that were decent. Basically, what happened was they're like, hey, adults can enjoy this too. I don't know how you get full on that, though.
Could you imagine buying it? Yes, I am single, and I'm buying Gerber singles.
All right, I got a little clip here of a guy who...
oh, boy. Is there a jar with a steak in it?
I think it's pureed food in a jar for adults. It's probably just a larger jar.
Okay.
Hey, did you know that in 1974, Gerber's came up with a new product line targeting college students and young people who had just left home for the first time? It was food that they called singles. And they came in single servings of ready-to-eat entrees and desserts. The idea didn't catch on very well, though. Apparently, young people didn't enjoy the thought of eating baby food.
Come on.
And that's why brand strategy, it matters.
It's a commercial for his company called Brand Strategy, but the idea, he was just kind of mocking what we're talking about, how, yeah, guess you didn't have to microwave it. You can just pull it out and ready to go because it's on the shelf, right? You didn't have to put baby food in the fridge. It's on the shelf until you opened it. Gerber's singles for adults. All right. 1974. My last one, Jay, is the Ford Edsel. 57, Ford Motors, the pioneer in car manufacturing and creator of classic automobiles, introduced the Edsel, a venture that would go down in history as one of the most infamous marketing failures. Even today, the name Edsel is synonymous with a major flop. Named after Henry Ford's son, Edsel Ford, the Edsel was envisioned as an expansion of the Lincoln Mercury division, creating the Mercury Edsel Lincoln division. However, despite the legacy of Ford and its classic cars, the Edsel turned out to be a short-lived and expensive tale. The primary flaw lay in the failure to understand the evolving preferences of American consumers. At the time, there was a demand for smaller, more economical cars. Unfortunately, Ford Motors executives struggled to define the Edsel's niche in the market. Most Edsel models were priced too high, targeting a market that was not interested in the product. The lack of alignment with consumer preferences and misjudgment of the market led to the Edsel's demise. It was taken off the market in 1960, marking it as one of the most notable and costly failures in the automotive industry. The Edsel serves as a cautionary tale about the importance of understanding consumer needs and effectively positioning a product in the market. Obviously, you can Google pictures of the Edsel Ford. I was trying to find a small commercial that showed what it looked like back in 1957, or a small clip. Nowadays, that's the funny thing about these cars, Jay, is if you had one nowadays, that'd be so cool to own one today.
And now we'd like to show you how the Ford Motor Company has opened the gateway to a whole new world, a new vista of motoring pleasure with the 58 Edsel. Won't you come in? Heavy.
This is the Edsel. Unlike any other car you've ever seen, this is the Edsel. This is the Edsel. This is the Edsel. This is the Edsel. You can see how it looks. You have to feel the power of the newest V8 engines in the world. The big new Edsel 400 and the larger Edsel 475. It is unlikely you have ever driven a car with so much usable power as the Edsel. And with Edsel's exclusive TeleTouch Drive, you drive more safely, more easily than you ever have before. Because both hands can stay at the wheel, while the Edsel shifts electrically. This is the Edsel. As its graceful flight deck and classic vertical grille suggest, it is elegant in every detail, and it acts the way it looks. But it doesn't cost that much. See, drive, and be sure to price the new member of the Ford family of fine cars, the Edsel, at your Edsel dealer.
I'm a little confused. Why did it fail so poorly?
I don't know. There are, of course, documentaries on YouTube. There's a whole bunch that will explain in further detail its failure. It is kind of even funny looking, even for the 50s, late 50s there.
Some of these, I'm looking at images, and some of the redone ones are pretty cool.
Sure. Well, it's cool to look back today, right?
Yes,
I admit, you look back at these old vehicles, but boy, that was a big car when it pulled in that driveway. When you actually saw it pulling through, that is a lot of car. It's amazing how much engine.
400 and a 475. What was the tank of gas? I wonder how big the gas
that's back
was.
When gas was 5 cents a liter, but whatever. I find the history of that funny. The guy that was doing the announcing at the beginning was weird. He took the microphone away and he heard him say, "This is heavy." He was mentioning that the microphone stand was heavy. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I don't know. They didn't take that out of the commercial. He actually mentioned that the microphone stand was heavy. Anyways, I love that old timey stuff. Yeah, so take a look at our YouTube channel or just Google on your own what the Etzel looks like so you can kind of see what they're saying. This is the Etzel. Nobody bought it. I don't know what to tell you.
I guess they were saying like it's just at the time they didn't want bigger, be more economic and smaller.
It's a big car. It looks big.
That is like that whole back end is the size of cars today. From the passenger seat to the end of the trunk is the size of a normal car.
That's a big car, but that was back when there wasn't much traffic on the road.
Imagine trying to parallel park that every day.
No, it was bigger than a Ford truck. It was a big car. Holy
like no backup cameras, no sensors, blind spot.
All right, that was my last one. Jay, what's yours?
So in the 1970s, a fierce rivalry unfolded in the world of home video formats. VHS versus Betamax. Betamax made its debut in 1975, allowing consumers to record up to 1 hour television footage. In response, VHS entered the scene in 1977, offering twice the recording time at 2 hours, sparking a prolonged battle between the two formats. The war between Betamax and VHS dragged on for more than a decade. Despite both formats having unique qualities, their similarities prolonged the format war. Ultimately, VHS emerged victorious, overshadowing Betamax, even though Betamax boasted a higher resolution. The VHS became the preferred choice for most consumers due to its affordability and long recording time, despite Betamax's initial popularity for nearly a decade. It has largely faded from public memory. Today, many people have never even heard of Betamax, making it one of the greatest epic fails of all time. The format war between Betamax and VHS serves as a classic example of how factors like affordability and practicality could outweigh technical superiority in determining the success of a product in the market. So what's interesting is, couldn't Betamax just put on twice the amount of tape?
I don't know. I know the tapes were smaller. They were physically smaller. So I think their machines were smaller. So they would have had to change everything. They would have had to make their tapes bigger and the machines bigger. The VHS tape was a bigger tape.
The cassette was bigger. Yeah.
The Beta held less footage at a better quality. VHS held more footage at a lower quality. Most consumers, we were willing to sacrifice at the time, especially in the early 70s or mid 70s or early 80s, we were willing to sacrifice high def quality back then when our TVs weren't even high def.
Exactly. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, exactly. There is that rumor that Beta lost because of the adult industry. That is not the case. The adult industry was available in both formats, but again, people maybe wanted more of whatever it is. So you could just argue whatever that might be, people wanted more of on one tape. That being said, VHS, I get it. Love that one. That's just a typical of just supply and demand. I mean, people wanted more for less, and they got it with the VHS. Hey, look at that. More for less with the VHS.
That's your slogan. It's similar to how MP3s versus high definition audio. We were okay getting compressed sounds, and the MP3 is not a high quality audio versus a CD. Listen to a CD and your MP3 on a good CD stereo system with a proper stereo amplifier versus an MP3, the same volume. There is a difference in a high def audio. Funny you're talking about this because I just found this today. This is my old Sony high definition audio. It's actually a Walkman, and I charged it. Yeah, so this had high def audio, high res.
Right.
And
I understand what you're saying. Same idea though, same principle.
It's amazing that the same principle, but we're not willing to. It wasn't enough.
Yeah, I'd rather have more songs than better quality. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, what a fun list. So I guess for the criteria, I mean, these are all the best examples of the worst duds. Yeah, these are the best examples of hype products that became big duds. For me, the worst pick would be, which thing would I want to own the least? I think I'm going to go with that. So it's kind of a cop-out, I know, because I don't smoke. But even then, that was a waste. So it's a combination of, for me, the smokeless cigarettes. Not only was it, I'm not a smoker, and I have no interest in owning this product. Everything else, like the Arch Burger, I'd like to eat. It'd be fun just to even try the Apple Newton just to see it. I'd have a thing of yogurt. Same with the phone. I would love to drive the Ford Edsel. I think it'd be a blast to drive. So at the end of the day, if all these products were laid out in front of me to experience in one degree or another, for poops and giggles, the smokeless cigarettes hold no interest to me. I find it interesting. And I think it's interesting that it led to the vape or the e-cigarettes, which I would appreciate more than cigarette smoke anyway. So I don't mind that, being around vapors more than smokers. So what a weird idea, what a weird concept they tried to do. And it was a huge flop, only on the market for 5 months. They pulled that thing off quickly and they spent a lot of money, $300 million. This really was the worst.
I agree. Just the whole idea of trying to improve a horribly destructive habit. How can we continue to make people sick and addicted?
Right.
How can we improve on that? I can't get behind that in any way. It is the flop that I guess it deserves to be.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe this is the one that ironically deserves to be the worst failure. Also, I think too, they were trying to maybe, like you're saying, make it seem like it's not that bad. It's not that gross. There's no smoke. It almost seems like they're trying to trick people to thinking it's a clean activity because it's not producing smoke. Yeah. Okay. So thank you everyone for listening. If you haven't already, give us a rating and review on your favorite podcast app of choice that you listen to us on. We do appreciate it. It's easy to do. It's free to do. Just go hey, give us 5-star rating. We really would appreciate that to see our ratings go up.
Maybe we should get a phone. The worst of the best phone.
Oh yeah, worst of the best cell phone.
And the only app is our podcast.
That'd be amazing. I wonder if anyone would buy it. Maybe one person. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Remember, in front of every silver lining, there's a cloud. And today, it was Smokeless Cigarettes by R.J. Reynolds.